Wow. It's a good crowd. Chris, Doug, everybody involved in today, thank you so much. Uptown Players, for allowing us an opportunity to be on a stage, Ryan's home, where he was most comfortable. But today I'd like to tell a story about a man of great importance. At Rise. It is a beautiful summer night in 2004. My friend Dan Evers tells me about a party at this guy Lon's house. At the time, I was really new to the DFW theater scene, clearly because I didn't know who this Lon guy was. We show up to the party and it is packed. It was Lon's 40th birthday party. And as I know now, Lon likes to be the hostess with the mostest, and for this night he pulled out all the stops. This evening is mostly a blur, as most of the parties are for me at Lon's, except for a few things that stand out. One of the things has always been meeting Ryan Roach. When I met Ryan that night, we got to talking about theater and what we were doing, what we were about to do, that typical conversation we all have with each other as actors. I had just been cast as Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And when that came up, Ryan lit up like a little schoolboy. This started a conversation that lasted till the sun came up, literally. And we were the last people standing. I remember thinking, what a sweet, genuine guy. That night, a lifelong friendship was born. Time passed and Rocky rehearsals began. We got to the point where we needed some people in the house to start yelling the audience script so we would be ready for the craziness that was to come. And of course, Ryan was invited to these rehearsals. When I saw him at the first one, he gave me one of his infamous bear hugs and made me feel like the most important person in the room. As we went through the show that night, most of us could not contain ourselves as Ryan yelled out all those hysterically funny and brilliantly timed lines that all Rocky lovers know. On stage and off, Ryan could make an audience laugh. The blessing that is Ryan Roach continued. I got to share the stage with Ryan for A Man of No Importance, Elegies, and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And if that wasn't a big enough blessing, Ryan and I then became roommates. This was my favorite part of this tragic play. Before Ryan moved in, we had shared a lot of time together, but there was so much more to Ryan Roach that I had yet to discover. During our time together as roommates, we shared a lot of joys, a lot of sorrows, and a lot of laughs. But most importantly, we shared a home. I have memories. Can't see this with tears. Stop. I have memories and moments from that time together that have changed my life forever. One of the funniest stories from our time as roommates came pretty early. It was a couple months after he had moved in. There were boxes still kind of everywhere. And so I said, hey Ryan, why don't we kind of get a little organized? So we're in the garage, sorting through all the clutter and all the boxes, and this hysterical 18-year-old girl who lived across the way from us comes running into the garage, the open garage door that we're sorting through and sweating through. And she is just terrified. And she shows us this mark on her chest where her boyfriend had stuck a knife to her chest so hard that it left a mark. It terrified us. And then the roommate, or her roommate, her boyfriend, quickly followed behind her, and we didn't know what to do. We were trying not to get in the middle of it all, but just give them a moment to cool down before anything got out of control. Now, I know you're saying that's not funny, and you're right, it's not. Here's the funny part. As you all know, he was a lover of Star Trek, and Star Wars, and Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. And with that love came collectibles. So you wouldn't think Ryan to be a very scared person just looking at him. But that whole scene just scared him for a very long time, so he decided to protect himself. Every time he went to and from his car, he carried a life-size Lord of the Rings sword on his shoulder, looking and waiting for that guy across the way to just pop his face out. He was prepared. If you didn't know Ryan and you saw him in a dark alley, he would scare the crap out of those people, especially if he had just heard a Republican speak. He was passionate, outspoken, honest, and something people don't know, he was scared. We all got to see the best part of Ryan because he was at home in the theater. All of his worries and cares were gone when he was in with his theater family. What to him was church. Outside the safe walls of a theater, the pure joy of putting on a show, Ryan struggled. And I don't say that to speak ill of him or air his dirty laundry. I say that to lift up his ability to always keep a smile on his face when he was around his theater family. Few people know his struggles because he wasn't the type of man to burden people with his problems. I also say this to try and offer some kind of explanation as to why God received him in such an early age. He was bigger than life on stage, but life at times was bigger than he could handle off stage. Only God knows what was in store for Ryan if he had not left this world when he did. I like to think that something worse than death was coming down the road. I like to think that his passing is something that was mercy. Either way, it's something I can't explain. I'm trying to make sense of it all, and that's the best I got. As I said earlier, Ryan and I shared the stage in a show called A Man of No Importance. The author, Terrence McNally, wrote, "A Man of No Importance is about a group of theatrical amateurs who dedicate the off hours in their routine lives to catching at some of those moonbeams. In their real lives, they work hard for their money. In their true lives, they work even harder to make art for their audience of friends and family. In so doing, they become people of great importance. But most of all, their leader, Alfie Byrne, and a Dublin bus conductor, who learns in the course of tumultuous rehearsals for his long dream of production of Oscar Wilde's Salome, that the theater is not a place to hide from the world, but instead a very place where we may finally discover our true selves. The defeat of this production is also the victory of his self. The small world of St. Imelda's players become an enormous one, and I would be surprised if you did not find at least a small part of your world in theirs. Alfie and his friends are all of us. Ryan found his true self on stage, and with his theater family, this small world wasn't big enough for him, and he was a man of great importance. In the show, the character Alfie says, "I used to think that the most thrilling words in the English language were 'at rise' as we begin a new project and open our books to the first page of the playwright's text. I was wrong. The most thrilling words in the English language are these: 'Good morning, my dear friends.'" Alfie sang a song in A Man of No Importance, and the lyrics are, "I'm not one to lecture, how could I dare? Someone like me who's been mainly nowhere. But in my experience, be as it may, you just have to love who you love. You just have to love who you love. Your common sense tells you best not to begin, but your full heart cannot help plunging in. And nothing and no one can stand in your way, you just have to love who you love. You just have to love who you love. People can be hard sometimes, and their words can cut so deep. Choose the one you choose, love, and don't lose a moment's sleep. Who can tell you who you want? Who can tell you what you are destined to be? Take it from me, there's no fault in loving, no call for shame. Everyone's heart does exactly the same. And once you believe that, you'll learn how to say, I love who I love who I love. Then just go and love who you love. Ryan loved with his whole heart. And after his funeral on July 1st and seeing all of you here today, it is clear that Ryan had and will continue to have a special place in all of our hearts. Chris, you made this, yeah? He handmade this for Ryan. So this was Ryan's nice little scarf with the Gryffindor colors. He was loved. And I will always love him. And I will love because of you.